humanity.
As the concentration of power grows, it further separates Washington insiders from the reality of everyday working life. And one of the biggest contributors to this is a system of manipulated money.
In much of the Western world, we have so much price propaganda, and it's driven by who barons declare the winner of the U.S. election, which is the Fed and all the other central banks around the world, just printing money and creating a quintillionaire class.
The Cantillon effect is the phenomenon that describes how those closest to the Fed's money printer benefit to a greater extent than those further away, and how political incentives become less and less about accountability and more about re-elections than anything else. And when the money printer goes burr, it perpetuates and compounds wealth inequality. It benefits corporate executives who are able to use easy money for stock buybacks, and ultimately benefits short-term focused politicians.
So people like Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos are in this lovely situation of paying less in taxes as a share of their income than the poor people who live in that same state. I think people aren't living their values.
If people are no better than their incentives, and the actual supply of money can be changed by a small group of unelected fiat overlords who stand to benefit from such a change, do the math. It's no surprise they might want to keep the current system as is. And then consider Bitcoin, a system of rules with no rulers. If no one has the ability to expand or manipulate the supply of money, then government officials would have to be more accountable to the promises they make and be held to a higher standard than when they're close to the monetary spigot. Maybe then societies could finally experience true financial inclusion and a chance to minimize the wealth gap.
Once these fiat dark ages end, and that's what we're witnessing right now, this is what you're seeing on the cable news, this is what you're seeing in the hysterics on Twitter. Once that dies, there's a great opportunity for the ordinary person to build something new.
Fiat has succeeded in keeping the majority of people working harder and harder for less and less. It continues to shortchange wage earners of their most precious resource, their time. But what will happen when people stand up and say no to the hypocrisy and the inequality a system of easy money has created?
If you keep the poor people divided, they can't wake up long enough to do what I did and read about how money works. Because if they do that, we got big trouble, right? Then the slaves will wake up. You don't want to deprogram the slaves. So you have to convince the slaves that it's not the monetary system's fault that you're broke. It's not the monetary system's fault that you continue to work for a set number of dollars and the price of houses just keep going up and up and up. It's not the monetary system's fault. It's the white man's fault, or the black man's fault, or the Asian people's fault. Someone else's fault. Because if the poor people all fight each other, they can't wake up long enough to look up and go, oh, there's not actually that many of them.